Hello, everyone, and a very good evening to all of you. Thank you so much for joining in on a Friday evening to have a very thoughtful and a learning roller coaster, which we all gonna sit on. My name is Aashna, and I will be the moderator for today's session. Little bit about me: I have done my bachelor's in law from India and my master's in law and technology from Canada. I teach law and technology. I love privacy. I love blockchain. This is something which I do. I also love community building and interacting with new people as well. Um, Today, we will be navigating a well-known buzzword amongst us, which we must have seen on LinkedIn or Instagram or through our tech buddies called Metaverse. And we have our expert, Ekta, here. So just a little bit about Ekta. She also has her roots from India. So she is an IP lawyer from India. And currently she's living in Germany, where she's pursuing her master's degree and is writing her thesis on ownership and IP right issues in NFTs. When she's not working on her thesis, she's helping in building a Web3 legal education tool called Web3 Lex. It helps in answering the most important legal questions from the Web3 community. She's also part of second cohort of DeFi Talents program at Frankfurt School of Finance and Management. She's a firm believer in learning by doing. Ekta has joined several DAO communities. She's also building her Web3 law firm called Doyer. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Ekta, but it's great to have you here. This is such a great combination of her expertise that, she's done her bachelor's from India, now she's in Germany and doing something altogether different, which most of us have not even heard about. So thank you so much for joining in here, Ekta, and giving us some valuable time of yours.
Thank you very much, Aashna, for such a lively discussion and introduction. Thank you everyone for joining. I have prepared a small PPT, so I would share my screen and we will get started.
Before that, Ekta, we have Brijesh sir here, who is the founder of this cohort called Smart Lawyers in UAE. So I'm just going to give a little introduction about Brijesh sir as well. So he is a legal tech entrepreneur. He's based in Dubai with 25 plus years of expertise in emerging technologies. He is an authority in legal technology consultancy with great knowledge of technology trends and their effective application in the legal domain. He has practical experience in delivering corporate-wide legal tech solutions across Middle East, Africa, and Indian subcontinent region as well. He's also the author for numerous articles on legal technology, and he's also written a book on legal tech. Thank you so much for being here, sir. We would love to hear some words from you today.
Yes. Thank you, Aashna, for the nice introduction. You told everything about me. Okay, thank you, and thanks for attending this session. We have an active group of a networking group of lawyers. Okay, the group name is Smart Lawyers in UAE, and we have a great mix of lawyers who are practicing in the courts in UAE and in-house legal counsels and law students. Okay, and we used to conduct this kind of learning sessions in every week. That's our plan. Okay, so earlier we have conducted similar sessions earlier as well. And today's session is very important. I am also very keen to know about the thing. It's a most demanding subject. I mean, anything on NFT, blockchain and the crypto. These are the buzzwords at the moment, and we are all very keen to, Ekta, we are very keen to, hear from you, your insights, So.
Pleasure to meet you, sir. So I will get started, and I am not aware how much knowledge people have about NFT, blockchain. Do you already know basics, or should I start from the basic concept?
Well, over to you, Ekta. Honestly, it's your discretion. Think of us as learners. Think of us as budding lawyers in this community of Web3. It'll be nice if you can throw light on some basic concepts of NFT and blockchain, just 5-10 minutes around that, and then probably you can kickstart. Yes, you already have an answer. Basic, please. So
okay,
over to you now.
Sure. I will share my screen. Okay, Lakshmi. Can you see my screen? Yes. Yeah, so this is briefly the agenda for today. I'll give an introduction to the topic. Since not everyone is familiar with with NFTs and blockchain, I will start with basic overview, and then I will discuss some famous IP infringement cases. I have picked two for today's session. And then we'll briefly talk about going CC0 post-sale. If you are following NFT news, you must have heard that Moonbird NFT recently moved to CC0 Creative Commons license from the IP license, and there is a debate going on in the community whether they could have legally done it or not. So we will discuss that briefly, and then we'll look at the NFT license terms of the famous NFT projects. You know, whenever there's a discussion on what IP rights an NFT gives, you always go and check their licensing terms, and they differ, and there are so many questions and doubts around those NFT terms as well. So we'll briefly have a look on those terms, and then I'll open the floor for discussion. Would love to hear your feedback and any questions you have or your opinions. So yeah. We all are aware of the human evolution, but not all of us are aware of the web evolution. But web has evolved and we have felt it. You're aware that before 1990, there was no web, and we lived in the PC era, and in the 1990s, we got introduced to the internet, to web. But this web was very different from the web we have today, because in Web 1, you were only able to read. There were worldwide, there was website, there were basic web pages, but you could only read, consume, but not write. And in Web 2, which came in 2006, and we live in Web 2, still, we are not only able to read, but we can write, create content. For example, on Twitter is totally user-generated content. Instagram is user-generated content. Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok. We are now in the creators economy. We are creating content, but the only problem is that we are not owning the content. We create the content, but the entities, the platforms on which we create the content monetize that. And this is where Web3 makes a difference. You not only read, write, create content.
You say?
Okay. So in Web3, you cannot only read, write, but you are also able to own the content. Ownership of digital assets was not possible in Web 2 because, you know, it's very easy for anyone to just cut, copy, paste any digital asset. And the new asset that you create is not different. And in fact, it is an exact replica of the original digital asset. So why would you pay for an asset which can be easily copied and there is no record of ownership? And this has become possible through blockchain technology in the Web3 world to certify the ownership of a digital asset. So if you own an asset, it doesn't matter how many people have a copy of that exact same digital asset, but your ownership is recorded on the blockchain, and anybody can go and see that you are the owner of this asset. To give an example, anybody can create an exact replica of Mona Lisa, which is a very famous painting, but it would never equate to owning the real Mona Lisa, to having the ownership of the original Mona Lisa. And exactly in the same way, on Web3, anybody can have digital copies of the NFTs or the underlying assets, but it makes a difference because they are not the owner of those digital assets. Web3 has many use cases. There is metaverse. There are non-fungible tokens. There are decentralized apps. But today we are going to have a look at NFTs. And as the name suggests, NFTs means non-fungible. And to understand what is non-fungible, we have to understand the concept of fungibility. And I hope that this image makes it clear to you. Fungible means you can trade it like for like, but non-fungible means you cannot trade it like for like. For example, if I lend $10 to Aashna, I do not mind if she returns me any other $10 note later, when she pays me back. But if I am going on a vacation and I give my pet to Aashna to take care of when I'm on vacation, when I'm holidaying, when I come back, I want Aashna to return me my puppy, my pet, and not any other pet. I wouldn't accept that. And that's why my pet is non-fungible, because I cannot accept any other pet in place of my pet. And that's the difference between fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens. As you can see here, Bitcoin is a fungible token because it can be traded like for like, but arts, house, plane tickets are non-fungible because they are not interchangeable and they are very unique. Even NFT has several use cases. In today's world, you can tokenize almost everything on this planet, convert it into a token, and perhaps sell in the secondary market. So you can tokenize your house and sell it. You can tokenize your car and sell it. You can tokenize a ticket to an event and sell it. You can tokenize even the loyalty program for your customers. But since we are also discussing the intellectual property rights, we'll talk about those assets that have underlying IP rights, for example, arts. To summarize what an NFT is in simple language, I would say that it is a certificate of ownership. So if your wallet has an NFT, it means that you own the underlying asset that this NFT represents. And this ownership, as I mentioned again and again, that this ownership is recorded on the blockchain. And this blockchain is basically, as you see here, is a block. And this block is a smart contract. And the ownership is recorded on this block, which is blockchain, in a block on the blockchain in a smart contract. Here you see the underlying asset. The underlying asset has a smart contract. This is a smart contract. In this case, it's ERC 721 smart contract. I'll tell you more about it later. And this smart contract has the metadata of this NFT. Metadata is a description of the NFT. So when you read the metadata of an NFT, you can know what is the name of this art or NFT or this asset, what is the characteristic of this asset. For example, here it says the name is Herbie Starbelly. The description is that it's a friendly, open sea creature ready to adventure. And it has several traits which are mentioned here, some value which are mentioned here. So if you look at the metadata, you find the description about the NFT itself or the underlying asset itself, and this metadata is mentioned in the is included in the smart contract. Contrary to what is generally assumed, the underlying asset is not on chain. So the NFT you own is just a certificate of ownership and of an underlying asset, but that underlying asset is recorded off chain. And the URI, which I show you here, And the token URI is included in the smart contract. Here you see token URI. And it points to the asset. So if you if you can access the asset through the token URI, and the asset is off-chain, it's not on the blockchain. As you have seen here, ERC 721 contract was mentioned. This is a smart contract, and there are several token standards, several types of smart contracts. For us, I think it is most important to just be aware of these three main smart contracts. For example, ERC 20, ERC 721, and ERC 1155. ERC 20 enables transfer of ownership of these fungible tokens. And I described earlier what fungible tokens are. Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these are fungible tokens because they can be traded like for like. And ERC 721 is mainly for non-fungible tokens. It actually is a proof that the asset is unique and non-interchangeable. ERC 1155 is a combination of these two. ERC 1155 is the combination of two. So using is pretty advanced. It's recent. Using ERC 1155, one can transfer both. One can combine ERC 20 tokens, ERC 7 fungible tokens, non-fungible tokens, and also fractional tokens. Now there is a new concept of fractional ownership of NFT. So you don't have to buy the entire house that has been tokenized or entire property that has been tokenized, but you can own a fraction of it, and that's where the fractional ownership comes in place. But I'm not going deep into fractional ownership for now. I think we should just keep in mind that ERC 721 is important for the ownership, for the certifying ownership of NFTs and for transactions related to NFTs. As lawyers, we are still trying to figure out how Web 2 laws can be applied to Web 3. And I showed you the transition of Web earlier, and lawyers have struggled before when the transition into Web 2 happened from Web 1, and struggled to find out how Web 1 laws can be applied to Web 2. And now we are facing the same challenge as lawyers. And while in some companies, lawyers are trying to find out a way to apply existing laws to Web 3. But some countries are ahead and they are legislating on these new assets, digital assets, and on Web 3 metaverse. And from the news, I found out that UAE is one of those countries that is trying to legislate on these very new topics, fields, assets. For example, only a few weeks ago, actually, Dubai police was very much in the talk of the town because their NFT project was launched, and 22.9 million people showed interest in this NFT project, and it was the first police on the globe to do such a thing. And before this news, actually, Dubai was very much in news because the Prime Minister of UAE had unveiled the metaverse strategy for Dubai, and they plan to make Dubai, they want to boost Dubai's economy by 4 billion in the next 5 years through this metaverse strategy. And Dubai is also a place where they have laws for NFTs and crypto governance. It's called virtual assets laws. And Dubai residents have to get a VERA permit for following things such as exchanging cryptocurrencies and other digital assets. And other digital assets would include NFTs, I believe. For digital wallet services, you need a license for trading tokens stored on the blockchain. NFT crypto platform operations. So if you want to open a platform for enabling NFT and crypto operations, or if you want to start digital asset custody services, you need to obtain a license from VARA in Dubai. These laws that UAE has come up with, Dubai has come up with, are still new, and we do not know the impact of these laws. We'll know only in the future. But one thing is sure, that UAE will become a popular choice for NFT and crypto enthusiasts, and the government is favorable of these newer venues. Until now, we only discussed the positive side of the blockchain and NFTs, but now let's look at its ugly side, as I would like to call it. On OpenSea itself, you will see that there is an abundance of plagiarized work, fake collections. And as a creator, I am not sure if my IP rights are infringed on NFTs. Am I protected? What recourse do I have? What legal recourse do I have? And that is the question all IP lawyers, including me, get asked a lot these days. Even on LinkedIn, if you scroll, these are the questions that NFT communities and artists are asking. There are already some quite interesting IP legal battles going on all over the world. But as I mentioned earlier, I have picked two for today's discussion. These two cases are very popular, and maybe you already have heard about these cases. First is Birkenback's case, and the second is Bored Ape Yacht Club case. Yeah. So majority of us are aware of this Birkenback brand. We know about Birkenback. It's considered as a symbol of eliteness, and they are very expensive, quite unaffordable for most of us. And Birkenbacks are owned by a French fashion company. It's called Hermes. And at the beginning of this year, means January 2022, it sued an artist called Maison Rothschild. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but yeah, he's called Maison Rothschild. And Hermes sued him for trademark infringement of its Birkenback brand. Rothschild has released a collection of 100 Meta Birkin NFTs. As you see on this slide, the small Birkenbacks, these are called Meta Birkins, and there are 100 of them. And before that, he had released a baby Birkin NFT, which is on the left side. It represented 40-week-old fetus inside a transparent Birkin bag. And you would be surprised that this was sold for $23,500 US. And when Birkenback, the original Birkenback, sold its small bags for $8,000, $9,000 US. So this was way above that price. And you'll be more surprised to know that last year in December, the same bag was sold for US $47,000. And Meta Birkins, they are also on the higher side. I'm not sure the exact floor price right now, but yeah, when I took the screenshot, it was for Ethereum, 5 Ether. So these are fox fur bags in different colors and patterns, and naturally Hermes owns the trademark for Birkin bags and for Birkin and Hermes name, and they own the trade dress right for the Birkin handbag design. Now the question for us is, can Rothschild legally create a Meta Birkin or Baby Birkin NFT? Or is he, by doing so, is he violating the trademark rights or copyrights of Hermes or Birkin bag brand? While giving interview to media, Rothschild himself has compared owning a Birkin bag in real life to owning a Meta Birkin in the metaverse. And there was, in reality, there was a confusion. Many assumed that Hermes has a collaboration with Rothschild, and this project, Meta Birkin project, is supported by Hermes somehow. But it was wrong. Even the New York Post, it's a media house, it had also mistakenly reported that Hermes partnered with Rothschild in the Meta Birkin NFT project. So there was confusion. And before the New York court, Rothschild says that he used Meta Birkins as a title of his artwork and is not a source identifier of his product. And if you follow IP case laws in the US, you know that there is a Roger test, which is quite popular, and whoever gets sued for trademark infringement claims First Amendment protection and protection under Roger test, exemption under Roger test. Roger test provides special protection to the use of trademarks for works of artistic purposes. We know there is a very thin line. We don't know for sure if this work that Rothschild did is the work for artistic purposes or if it's violating the trademark of Birkin and it's a real IP infringement case. And it's very difficult to say when an artist is exercising his artistic freedom or he has crossed that very thin line that I just mentioned about. The Meta Birkins are also selling for such high prices, and their existence in the metaverse might hurt Hermes when it decides to enter the metaverse itself. And at least when I went to check Rothschild's project, there was no disclaimer in the metadata or on the website that Meta Birkin does not have any association with Hermes or original Birkin brand. The case is still pending, and it will be very interesting to see what the court will decide. But yeah, later I would like to know your opinion on this. The second case that I picked is of plagiarized Bored Ape. I think all of you must have heard about Bored Ape Yacht Club collection, and this is Bored Ape number 1058. And there is an artist called Ryder Rips. He started his own collection called RRBAYC, and this is an NFT. On the left side is an NFT from the original BAYC, Bored Ape Yacht Club, and this is the NFT from RRBAYC. It has the same number, same picture. So I would leave this to you to decide whether it's deceptively similar or same. So Yuga Labs, which owns this NFT, sued Ryder Rips for violating trademark of BAYC. And if you followed this case, or even if you read about it on the LinkedIn, you must have read this viral line from their statement of claim that said that this is no more monkey business, but a deliberate effort to harm Yuga at the expense of its customers. So yeah, this no more monkey business became quite viral. Yuga has alleged a lot of things, but among other things, it has alleged trademark infringement. But interestingly, no copyright claim. And in the previous case as well, it was trademark infringement and no copyright claim. And this is also a very good point for discussion why these NFT projects are not including copyright infringement in their statement of claim. Is there no copyright infringement, or they think their case is too weak for a copyright protection? If you look at his page on OpenSea, RRBAYC, Ryder Rips claims that RRBAYC collection is a protest against racist BAYC ape. He says that BAYC ape characters are racist. And BYC has connections with subversive Nazi troll culture, and he's trying to expose that by using satire in his art. And if you check his Twitter, he's always posting about these things against BAYC. And just like Rothschild in the Birkenbacks case, Ryder Ripps is also claiming protection under First Amendment and Rorschach test. And recently, Ryder has filed a notice of motion to strike the case of Yuga Labs on these grounds, and it will be heard on the 17th of October. So we'll see whether court will strike it down or not. Right now, we can only guess and debate whether what Ryder Ripps and Rothschild did are protected under Roger test or not. But after the court's decision, everyone in the NFT space will have more clarity on how much artistic freedom can be exercised in the NFT space and whether popular brands are protected against IP infringement in the metaverse. Even though these cases that I picked are from the USA, the decision in these cases will have global ramifications. They will influence what courts in other jurisdictions are deciding for. This is a bit off the topic, but you must have heard that recently UK recognized NFTs as property, and later on, even Singapore High Court recognized NFTs as property to give relief to the plaintiff. So I believe that there will be global ramifications of these judgments. Since time is not on our side, I think I took too much time. I will briefly discuss CC0 Moonbird NFT. You must have read in news or may have seen on Twitter or LinkedIn that Kevin Rose, the founder of Proof, a Moonbird NFT project, and Oddities NFT project, announced on Twitter that they are moving to the CC0 public license. So when you buy an NFT, you do become an owner of the underlying asset, but it's not always that you also own the IP. And it can never be implied that if you are the owner, you also own the IP rights unless it has been specifically transferred to you. And to find that out, you must always have a look at the terms of sale of those NFTs projects or licensing terms of those NFT projects. Moonbird used to be an NFT project which used to give free use commercial use license to its buyers, just like Bored Ape Yacht Club and CryptoPunks. But after Kevin Rose made this announcement, now Moonbirds is CC0. But what does it mean? It means you don't have to buy a Moonbird NFT to commercially exploit it. Anyone can commercialize and distribute any respect of the collection or freely create derivative work without seeking the permission of the owner. And this move prompted us lawyer because there was a lot of discussion going on Twitter and LinkedIn whether it was legal for Kevin Rose to do that. Like they sold the NFT to us, we had the IP rights or use rights, and now everybody has those rights. So what's the benefit of it? Can they legally do it? And this move prompted us lawyers to look at the terms of sale of Moonbird NFT, which I did, and I have a screenshot from there on the slide. And to be honest, these terms of sale give extensive rights to the owners of the NFT projects, and they mostly have the freedom to do whatever they wish to do. Another very interesting debate is whether NFT projects that are moving to CC0 can continue to charge royalties. Right. The whole point is that if you're CC0, I don't need a license from you because it's public license to commercially exploit that NFT. And there were many in the community who said that CC0 projects should not be earning royalties. And this is perhaps the reason why if you go on OpenSea and check the earnings that the creators get, it doesn't say royalties, it says creator earnings. And there are these projects which have IP rights, which give transfer use rights to the buyers. But there are projects such as Emperor's Town, which have been CC0 from the beginning, but still they continue to charge this royalty or creator earnings. And Moonbird recently went CC0, but it still continues to charge 5% royalty or creator earning for every sales. Every time you transfer an NFT, 5% goes to Moonbirds. And yeah, but another point here is that secondary sales royalty is, not a part of the smart contract. This royalty is not included in the smart contract. We just talked about ERC 721, and as far as I know, it's not possible to include the royalties in the in this 721 smart contract as of now. It does not have this functionality, and royalties can only be claimed on the platforms that support this functionality. For example, on OpenSea, you can decide how much royalty you want, and this is how much the famous NFT projects are charging: 5%, 2.5%, 7.5%, 10%. But if you are not using these platforms, the royalty is not automatically triggered. For example, if you're transferring an NFT from one wallet to another wallet, the royalty is not triggered. In that case, there's no royalty. And OpenSea is using the term creator earnings. So this is another point of discussion, whether CC0 projects should be earning royalties or creator earnings, whether creator earnings are royalties or they are simply creator earnings, and whether they can continue to earn these. And again, I would like to mention that just like in real world, you do not automatically get the IP rights along with the ownership rights. You cannot get them in the metaverse or in the NFT space. And you may own the art, such as Mona Lisa, but you do not necessarily have the right to commercialize it, or you do not necessarily have the underlying IP right. Therefore, it's always very important to check the terms and conditions of the NFT project before assuming any IP rights or use rights. Also, it is very important to check if the owner who has transferred the IP rights has only granted rights to use the IP or has granted some limited rights. In the case of NFT projects that we know, what NFT owners get, like contrary to the common belief, what NFT buyers get is use rights, commercial use rights, but they do not get the IP rights, the complete IP rights of the asset that they are buying. Another thing that the buyers of NFTs must check is if the seller still has the use rights or the IP rights. For example, if I buy an NFT from Aashna and she gives me use rights, but well, after selling it to me, she gives exclusive license to somebody else. In that case, the use right I have is, useless. I don't have the rights anymore, and I cannot if I sell this but I do have the ownership. And in this case, if I sell the NFT to somebody else, that person will get the ownership, but I cannot transfer the IP rights because I don't have the IP rights. So it is very important to always ask from the seller if they really have the IP rights, but there is no way for us to know if the person has the IP rights or not. And in such a case, maybe we can request for a letter saying that yes, they do have request for confirmation that they do own the rights. Yeah. Going back to the question of terms of sale, I mentioned that the terms of sale that most of these projects have are not very clear. They do not define the rights very well. As a buyer, I do not know what rights are included, what can I do with the NFT, what can I not do with the NFT. And there was so much criticism, but recently, I think only last week or this week, Yuga has come up with new license terms for 2 of its projects, and they are very, very well drafted, and they're receiving the appreciation from the lawyers for coming up with these terms. These are for Meebits and CryptoPunks. Some of the good provisions that I would like to highlight are that it clarifies that Yuga retains the IP rights, so there's no confusion now. It says that we retain the IP rights, but we grant you an exclusive license as long as the owner owns the NFT. So until the time you own the NFT, you have the IP rights, so you have the exclusive license. Even Yuga, during that time, when you own the NFT, even Yuga cannot use the license because it's an exclusive license, or grant rights to any to third parties. But in the case of Moonbird terms of sale, they can do anything. There's no limit to what they can do. They can suspend, they can sell to other persons, they can do whatever they want. But in this case, it's clearly defined what they can do and what they cannot do. And there is also a clause on sub-licensing that allows Yuga to display the art as part of its collection, for example, in exhibitions. In these new license terms for CryptoPunks, they have clearly mentioned that the owner can exploit the art for both commercial and non-commercial use. It is even sub-licensable and allows the creation of derivatives. So they can also create derivative work and own the IP rights in the derivative work. But there's one problematic thing which I found problematic, was that if you sell you create an derivative from the original art that you bought, you own the IP rights in this derivative work that you created. But when you sell the original art, you will need a license from the new owner to continue using your derivative work. And this, I do not know for sure if it's allowed, or if they can do it, if the IP legislations allow such a mechanism. And also another question that I had in my mind was whether the new derivative that I have created, and since I need a license from this new owner, do I have to transfer the IP rights of my derivative to the new owner, or who will have the IP rights then of this? And this is the only provision which I found a bit problematic in these terms. Another very good term is giving post-term exploitation right to work that was created and published during the licensing period. For example, I bought an NFT, then I printed hoodies, I created a business out of it, and then I sold the NFT. So I will still be protected to sell those work, but surprisingly, again, there is no limitation on extent and time, and until when can I continue to use these, sell these hoodies, so to say. These terms even allow the NFT owner to sue third parties for infringement. So if I buy a CryptoPunk and this specific CryptoPunk is being used by somebody else and it's infringing my IP rights, I can sue, and Yuga, if it wants, it can join. If it doesn't want, it doesn't have to join, but I can sue. I have the right to sue. So as of now, Yuga's terms of license are the best among the existing NFT projects, and they address most of the concerns that I mentioned earlier. And I hope that other NFT projects will learn and adapt to. And since this is still a very new field, one should be open to learn and adapt and tackle the existing issues. So that's it. I will open the floor for discussion, questions, and would like to know, what do you think about these cases?
Awesome. Yes, guys, if you have any queries, if you have any question, Ekta, you can stop sharing your screen, and we'd love to hear from you. It could be a small doubt, it could be something you want Ekta to reiterate, anything. Awesome. You can just raise your hand, and then we'll take the questions from you.
it doesn't have to be question, even if you have an opinion or a feedback or something that you would like to add, please feel free to share.
Ekta, what I have noticed that, the NFTs are very expensive all the time. So wherever you quote, it's talking about, thousands of dollars values, no one talk about small values. Why it happens, is it for only for the, that it's targeting only the, big market only? I mean, the high value market only, or what is it about?
Yeah, you're right. Initially, it was like that only a hype was created and only those projects which were very expensive got attention of everyone. But that is slightly changing and people are moving towards utility-based tokens. And there is actually a mass adoption happening of these tokens. For example, I met somebody in Berlin who's working for a football club, and they are selling the tickets of these football events. And through these NFTs, you can decide which music will be played when, which color dress which football team would wear on that day, and who will sit on the front row. So now it is transitioning into utility-based tokens from just having an art NFT or something which is hyped, something which is very expensive. And the companies, big brands, are using NFTs to convert their loyalty programs into tokens, and that is not very expensive. So you accumulate tokens, you accumulate loyalty points into your token, and you can use that, and that is not very expensive, which is a very good use case. So we are moving towards utility tokens, and the hype is slowly fading away. It will remain there, but it's still, people are not now valuing these utility-based tokens more.
Okay.
Awesome. We have a question for you, Ekta, from Leon. So he is asking, it might be slightly off the topic, but do you think future of central bank digital currencies are promising, where countries mint crypto in place of legal physical tender? I mean, it's up to you if you want to answer that.
I mean, I don't think that we will ever be able to eliminate physical legal tender, but there are countries, very poor countries, who are using a US dollar as a currency because their currency has devaluated so much. They are considering adopting crypto instead of US dollar or any other currency. So I think we are very far from that future where countries would adopt crypto and would forgo the legal tender, would stop printing the banknotes. But it is helping some economies in some way, and they are considering adopting it.
Awesome. So we have a hand raised. Namrata, do you have a question?
Not audible properly.
No. We are audible. I can hear everyone well. You can try reconnecting from some other network, perhaps?
Okay. Okay, I'll check. Thank you.
So we have a question, from Lakshmi. NFT are only for the digital IP?
No. So NFT has many use cases, and art NFTs and NFTs that carry some intellectual property rights are only one of the use cases that we talked in this live session. But you can tokenize anything. You can even tokenize your house and sell it. And now there is also a concept of fractional ownership, and there are DAOs that are buying real estate. And since no one person can buy this entire NFT, entire real estate, it's very expensive. They are fractionalizing it, and people are owning it together and sharing the earning profits together. So this is another use case of NFT, and there are plenty of use cases. IP is just one aspect of it.
Awesome. Well, I have a question. Ekta, what do you have to say about human rights in the NFT space? Indeed, we have spoken about intellectual property rights, but is there some, ethical issues with NFT? Do you feel that?
This space is very new, and there have been news about creators not being paid well, royalties not going to the creators, and they're not getting due recognition. Even for BAYC, we heard that the person who actually created the Bored Ape didn't earn enough money, didn't get the recognition, and didn't earn the royalties. So of course there are human rights involved in these NFT projects, and not just the art NFT projects, but also other NFT projects that we should consider moving forward. But since it's a new field, we are still learning what are the drawbacks and trying to change, adapt.
True.
Good question, Aashna.
Anyways, any other question? There is a lot of wash trading happening in the NFT space. That's a question.
I am not sure what wash trading means, so I don't want to misguide you. But if you can elaborate a bit more on that, maybe I will be able to answer you.
Guys, please try to ask legal questions. Ekta here is a legal tech expert. She's not a tech expert. Please
I
make
am
sure
I'm trying to learn tech, but I think I am still a bit far from being able to call myself a techie.
I mean, so Ekta, I mean, another question on this slide would be, what do you recommend to budding lawyers? Because we have a lot of young, students right here still in their law schools. And we have Pratik, we have Viditi, Ruva, they're still studying. So what do you feel skill set you need if they want to try, practicing law in the NFT space or dealing with anything legal in the NFT space?
I would say, like for me, the best learning platform has been LinkedIn, Twitter, and talking with the community, in being involved in the community, because I cannot find a single book on NFTs that would, compile all of this knowledge into one book and I can read and become an expert. So learning in this new field is a bit challenging. So you have to be quite advanced. I have joined several Discord channels. I'm part of several legal DAO communities. I follow some influencers on LinkedIn, that even the legal experts on LinkedIn that talk about NFTs and the legal issues in NFTs. I follow the news. So, but I am trying to write my thesis on this very topic, and ownership and IP rights issues. And I hope that I write a good thesis and later on publish it in a book, so you can read and get a comprehensive knowledge at one place instead of having to do all this. But still, it's always a good idea to stay in touch with the community, join Twitter spaces, um, and other communities where people are talking about the ongoing issues. Even after I have written my master thesis, there would be a lot of new things and new challenges going on. So it's very important to stay up to date.
Awesome. I think it's about time, guys. If you have any questions after this, you can email me from the same ID. I've sent you the registration link. I'll forward it to Ekta so that your curiosity is feeded. And until then, anything you want to add, Brijesh, sir, before we end today's session?
No, hey, it was really an interesting session. You have shared a lot of insights, Ekta. It was really a great learning today. And
Thank you.
thanks, Aashna. You have coordinated the event very well. So looking forward to such sessions in future also. So we need to onboard more speakers, in the coming
Yes.
sessions. It's a great initiative you have taken. Yeah.
Indeed, it was quite a learning experience for me as well. Working in the law and technology space, it's evolving every day. And Ekta, thank you so much for giving in your time. I know you're in a different time zone and managing your LLM and then doing this and doing thousand other things. Thank you so much for coming in. Please keep joining these events in future. And guys, if you know a law and technology expert, please don't hesitate to email me. We would love to bring you on board, or your friend or your colleague, so that we can know a little bit extra about legal tech space. With this, have a good night or have a good day in whatever time zone you are, and stay safe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.